Trigger Squad, T. Antonio, owner and creator of Trigger Doubles. How are you guys doing today? I am excited for this video. I'm doing my first ever tech news with you guys, and this is something that I read constantly. So I've picked out some articles that I found interesting and I actually have opinions on, and I wanted to share with you the information and then also give you my 2 cents on some of these articles. So these are things that I would have read anyway, and really today I'm just deciding to share it with you guys. That's the only difference. So the first thing that caught my eye today was Wendys on Twitter. And so these are all going to be like surrounding basically tech and business, by the way. So like to me, the two things go together. Like you can't read tech news without reading business news, and you can't read business news definitely without reading tech, because tech is like so big of a deal now. So it's kind of like a mixture of the both. So the fact that like this is a Wendys piece, but it's relevant because it's talking about their Twitter. Apparently Wendys has been like burning people on Twitter lately. Like they have been, I guess I would say, like snarky. Like so they're responding to people, like if they get criticisms, they're saying stuff like delete your account, and they're saying, you know, someone says like your food is garbage, and then they say like no, but your opinion is, like stuff like that, which is like super snarky for like a big corporate brand. And I think that this is kind of cool and progressive of them. They should keep doing this. I mean, they're not terrible, you know what I mean? They're not like kill yourself type stuff, you know what I mean? They're keeping it like PC, but they're also, I guess, in my opinion, like speaking the language of like Twitter. Like it doesn't have to be super PC all the time. I don't know. I don't think that like the corporate, like a super corporate vibe fits well into Twitter in the first place. So if you're going to be on Twitter, you may as well kind of embrace that culture. And so like good on Wendys for like having the courage to actually, you know, be snarky and be funny and know that it's all very ephemeral. It's gonna, I mean, even though it's on Twitter, it's still like people aren't that much going to like pay attention to what you said like the next day, you know what I mean? So that was very interesting. Good on Wendys. And I've actually been trying to do this a little bit more on our Twitter account too. Like I've like tried to chill out a little bit about like keeping everything so, I guess, professional on our Twitter. I even put like in our bio, you know, tweets are the CEOs, like so it's a little bit detached from our brand. And I've been saying more edgy stuff, been posting more jokes and replying like more snarky stuff to people. Nothing rude, but just funny stuff. And so I don't know, I kind of admire the fact that Wendys is taking this head on. Very cool. Okay, so our next story is an interesting one. It's about how video games can help you overcome anxiety and cravings. And this is an interesting topic for me personally because I have suffered from severe anxiety in the past. Actually, the type of games that I play, like Overwatch and COD, those actually still give me anxiety because it's so intense. Like the gameplay itself and like winning is like so important to me. So I still do get anxiety from playing games, but they're talking about like mobile games, you know, like Tetris or like Candy Crush and that sort of stuff. And I can see they talk a lot about like how, you know, like your vision, like these games are very visual, and it causes your brain to like, you know, visualize the games instead of like in the case of anxiety. When you're having anxiety, it's caused because you're visualizing something bad happening in the future. And so if that part of your brain is occupied by visualizing Tetris, for example, like it kind of replaces it. So really the anxiety like just isn't happening at that time. And I buy that. That's probably pretty true. I'm a huge believer in maybe the cravings part, but I do think that games just in general have a lot of health benefits that I think that are super underappreciated, undervalued. I definitely know that I'm a better person for having played video games, especially like the competitive nature. Like I love the reverse psychology and all the different psychology of multiplayer games. So for me, like I don't even think that's something that people have explored too much yet, but I definitely think video games have huge benefits. So here's an interesting article, and I didn't even really realize that Amazon was getting so much into the apparel game. But Amazon is launching an athleisure brand, and if you guys don't know what athleisure is, it is like it's like Lululemon, it's like yoga clothes, or you could even consider like Under Armour as athleisure. I think they fall into athleisure, but anyway, it's basically athletic wear that like people just wear around like leisurely. Makes sense. He makes the word. So they are getting into athleisure. And I don't know if you guys have followed Lululemon over like the past 5 years, I guess. But they have exploded. Like Lululemon has just crushed for a while now. And so immediately you might think like Amazon is trying to like eat their lunch, and maybe they are, but my guess is that they're like partnering with these types of companies. They're probably looking at athleisure companies to help them produce the clothes, and probably at higher quantities and then lower costs. So that's probably what's actually going on. I wouldn't guess that this is like some, play that's going to like try to put all these other apparel companies out of business. But apparently, according to this article, there is a lot of different apparel companies that Amazon owns now, and they're expected to, in the US, own like a significant portion of apparel over the next few years. I think in this article, they say by 2020, Amazon will own 14% of domestic apparel retailers. Amazon is a crazy company. They are awesome, and it is one of the best tech companies out there. And I just love how aggressive they are. They do such cool things, and I don't understand how they can be in so many different like avenues. Like Trigger Devils does like one thing, and we're good at one thing, and that for me is a strategy that's a working strategy. Amazon and Jeff Bezos, who is the CEO, I think is his title. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos is the CEO. He just somehow does like a million different things, and he does them all great. If I can ever learn how to do that one day, I will. But until then, I will stick with just doing one thing extremely well. But yeah, still, it's an interesting article. We obviously work with Amazon. If you guys know that Trigger Devils are on Amazon. I may as well give a plug real quick for Trigger Devils on Amazon. You don't even have to buy them. If you guys want to buy them, you can. But if you have an Amazon account, we always love for you guys to go and leave 5-star reviews on Trigger Devils. I'll leave a link down in the description for that. Click the link, hit the 5-star button. That is something that's totally free to you guys, and it helps us a ton. So if you're willing to do that, pause the video, go do that. We will love you forever if you do. All right, on to the next article. This is probably one of my favorite tech companies right now, Tesla. And this article is actually not about Tesla, and I think the title is a little bit of BS. So let's just read it. This is, if you guys haven't heard of Faraday Future, this might be a new car company to you. Watch Tesla's rival Faraday Future debut its first car by having it back into an empty parking spot. Okay, so a couple of things on this. This is a very charged title. This is saying Faraday Future's Tesla's biggest rival. But in reality, that's not true. I would say Faraday Future is Tesla's biggest, I wouldn't even say biggest, but one of Tesla's potential customers. And I'll explain why in a second. But let's get to the second part of this. They debuted their car, and I watched the debut. It was exactly like Tesla's or Solar City's announcement on the roof, solar roofs, which if you guys have not seen Tesla's and Solar City's solar shingles for roofs, they are freaking amazing. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to cover that. But their debut was very kind of like Apple and Tesla-esque as far as like showing off the Faraday Future car. I didn't really feel like they put their own spin on it at all. And also, like, self-parking is not a new thing. Like, it's really, to be honest, in the age of tech, it's kind of ancient. So the fact that it backed into the spot versus pulled in forward or whatever is just, it was very underwhelming to me. I'm not a Faraday Future believer yet. Let's just put it that way. But Faraday Future is not going to be the biggest competitor to Tesla the way you would think. You'd think like Tesla's like electric cars, and now there's this other company called Faraday Future that's also electric cars. So naturally you would think that they're competitors. But Tesla has a much larger strategy. Tesla wants Faraday Future to succeed because Tesla is going to be like the battery supplier for all industry of electric cars in the future. So they need competition. And Elon Musk has been quoted saying, like, we want competition. Like, we're doing this to prove that people want electric cars so that other companies will come and make them so that we can supply them with... It's a smart strategy, actually. Which is why, moving on to the next article, why Tesla has spent $500 million on their new Gigafactory. This next article is called Tesla has finally begun producing batteries at its massive Gigafactory. And yes, this is true. They've been actually, I think they've been producing them for a little while now, so I don't think that this is like super fresh and new. If you guys don't know, out in, I think it's Sparks, Nevada, Tesla has decided to produce a giant Gigafactory to produce batteries and produce power walls and produce, I think they're actually producing Tesla, they are producing Tesla cars there as well. And so they began construction in Q1 of 2016, about a year ago, on the factory itself. And like I said, they've spent $500 million on this place. If you didn't know, prior to that, they have contracted with Panasonic to make all their batteries. And now they've kind of just partnered with Panasonic, and Panasonic's going to be like making the batteries inside their Gigafactory, basically. Like Panasonic's handling like the operational side of it though. So that's kind of still happening, like that relationship's still there, but it's going to be a lot cheaper to produce the batteries, which is why the Model 3 expectedly is going to be like starting at $35,000, which is crazy cheap. The Gigafactory at the moment is about 14% complete, like the building itself, and it is operating. Like they're working in it as they're building out the building. And so they are producing a whole crap ton of stuff, and you can see like there are some tours where you can see they have a substantial amount of inventory that they've produced there. So I'm not super sure that like we need to be like, yeah, they're finally doing it, because they have been producing out of the factory for a while now. But this kind of lends the strategy that I was just talking about with Faraday Future. They're building this giant factory that will be self-sustaining. The whole top is going to be solar panels. They're going to be the producer. This is how they're going to be the producer for companies like Faraday Future and Ford and the other companies as they come in with electric cars and new technologies. Tesla's going, I mean, you might buy a Chevy Bolt in the future with a Tesla battery. Do you know what I mean? Like that's probably I mean, we should look back on this in a few years and see if I'm right about that. But yeah, so that's Tesla's strategy. So saying that they have these, competitors out there, the biggest competitor or biggest rival actually was the word that's not the right word for this. That's not the situation. Anyway, I was actually thinking about doing a video about Elon Musk as well, because I draw a lot of inspiration in my work from Elon Musk, and I draw a lot of inspiration from James Dyson. I would like to know if you guys want me to do a video on James Dyson or Elon Musk, just a video about talking about these people. I mean, I didn't realize this, but a lot of people on my team didn't really know who Elon Musk was before starting with Trigger Devils. Like, I just assumed everyone knew who Elon Musk was, but apparently people just don't. If you guys would like me to do like a breakdown video of each person and like why they're awesome, and including James Dyson, I don't know if you guys know James Dyson. He's the inventor of Dyson vacuums and that whole brand and the air blades, and he's also a beast. That guy's awesome. So if you want me to do a video on either of them, leave their names down in the comments. And just let me know if you guys like this video. I had fun making this video. I clearly love this stuff. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Always feedback for me is good. I didn't even make my bed today. It's garbage. I slept like crazy bad last night, so it's not looking good. I would have made my bed if I was thinking about it. And Kuno didn't even troll us today, so that's a good thing. Let me go get him real quick for you. There he is. Say hi to the internet, coons. Boom. All right, guys. That's all I got for you guys today. Subscribe to the channel. T. Antonio out.